Hey, True Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. I got a prediction for Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Earlier this year for the Super Bowl, I predicted that the Super Bowl would be the Broncos over the Carolina Panthers before the playoffs began. I predicted there would be a Black Panther tribute and Von Miller would be the MVP. I made those predictions based on unlocking a code that is used to script the world of professional sports. And throughout the NBA Finals, I've been exposing the scoring patterns, the box scores, showing how scripted these games truly are. They're so scripted that I am quite certain I know how many points LeBron James will score in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I'll explain later why I expect him to score 42 points. If you missed my preview video for Game 5, you can still watch that. I talk about why I expect the Cavs to take it to 7 games and why they might very well win. In that video, I talk about the significance of the number 41 this year. Since making that video, LeBron has scored 41 points in Game 5 and Game 6. In Game 5, Kyrie Irving, his co-star, also scored 41. This video, if you watch it from start to finish, will be one of the best videos I've made thus far on the world of sports rigging and also what goes on in the world of celebrity sacrifice that are rituals in addition to these sports games, these sports championships that are also truly rituals, something the fans of these leagues don't realize. They think they're watching an honest competition. What they're really watching is a scripted ritual that is largely based on a numerical code, which we're going to talk about. So I'll link this video in the description if you haven't checked it out. Please check out my other work. All of this work's important. I know a lot of you care about sports most, but what I'm trying to show you is there's more to this world than sports. So here we are, Game 7. The series is 3-3, very fitting for this NBA Finals. We got the opponents Cleveland and Golden State, which on the screen is often written abbreviated. Cleveland, Golden State, NBA Finals, all words that sum to 33. In the history of the NBA, the top two teams have been the Lakers and the Celtics. They have a combined 33 NBA championships. Think about people such as Bird and Magic. Both the words Bird and Magic sum to 33. Larry Bird himself wore 33. If you're new to my channel, I've been making videos and blog posts since 2013, 2014, talking about how the NBA is largely scripted around the number 33. You might recall that Golden State began the season chasing a 33-game record win streak by the Los Angeles Lakers, a team that Jerry West played for. Jerry West is now the executive for the Warriors. In his playing day, he wore the number 44. The Warriors are in their 44th year of being in Golden State. They began the season chasing a 44-year-old record set by number 44 Jerry West, whose name in gematria sums to 44. In the same way, Cleveland in these words sum to 33. Jerry West equals 44, wore the number 44. When you learn this language of coded numbers and words, you see how many players wear the number that syncs up with their name. So, if you're new, I've been talking an awful lot about the number 106 in last year's NBA Finals and this year's NBA Finals. Last year, before the NBA Finals, there was a train wreck in Philadelphia. The train was traveling 106 miles per hour. Golden State would go on to win the championship. The Warriors are originally from Philadelphia. This year, the day before the college basketball championship, a train wreck in Philadelphia. They said it was traveling 106 miles per hour, just like last year. Villanova goes on to win the college championship, being from just outside of Philadelphia, defeating North Carolina in their 106th year of being a basketball program. Remember, 106 is the number of prophecy. The Warriors will be playing in their 106th game of the season. 82 games in the regular season, plus 5 more in round 1 of the playoffs. That's 87 games. Plus 5 more in round 2, that's 92 games. Notice 4-1, 4-1, Golden State equals 41. Then they played 7 more games. They were at 92 plus 7 more, that's 99. Now they're going to game 7. 99 plus 7, 106. 106, the number of prophecy. In the last video, I showed the article out of Golden State, supposedly the 106-year-old fan of the Warriors who wants them to win a championship. Here they are in their 106th game for the NBA Finals on Sunday, June 19th, which happens to be all of the following. It will be the 106th Father's Day ever. The first Father's Day was June 19th, 1910. Now 106 years later, the 106th Father's Day. Remember, LeBron was the first player to advance to a conference final with his Cavs teammates on Mother's Day. From Mother's Day to Father's Day is 42, and I really think we're going to see LeBron score 42 in Game 7. I'm going to talk about why. We're still getting there. It's also the real King James birthday in history. King James, that the Bible's named after. He was born June 19th, 1566. That's a date with 106 numerology. 6 plus 19 is 25. Plus 15 more is 40. Plus 66 is 106. 106, a huge number on Sunday. And what we're going to talk about is why this is likely going to go in the favor of the Cavs and not the Warriors this year. I could be mistaken about that, but I think the Warriors are set up to be the GOAT in this ritual. Again, the Warriors originally from Philly. The Philadelphia Warriors defeated the Chicago Stags 1947 in the first basketball championship. Think about the Warriors eclipsing Chicago's record this year. Anyway, Revelation in Gematria. Philadelphia gets its name from Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. Notice King James was born in 1566. The name LeBron equals 66. Revelation, the book of prophecy, is incredibly important to the Freemasons who run this world by the numbers. A lot of the numbers they use, they're taken straight from Revelation. Revelation has gematria of 121 and 49, just like Warriors. Remember, Prince went to the game Warriors Thunder on March 3rd, 3/3/33. He died 49 days later. The game he was at, the Warriors won 121 to 106. Revelation, prophecy. Revelation is the book of prophecy. If you look up Prince's interview with Tavis Smiley from the beginning of Obama's presidency, he tells the people of the world all they can go by in this world is prophecy. Prince was in the clique. If you haven't seen my video on the death of Prince, I talked about how it was going to be connected to the NBA Finals. His cause of death was released Game 1 of the NBA Finals, all part of scripted narrative that's ongoing that involves sports, current events, news, politics. The whole world is synced up by this gang on this numerical system. They have we the people living on a conveyor belt watching the television, getting all this information by the numbers. We're going to talk about this phrase, the synagogue of Satan. In Revelation, it says the synagogue of Satan, the false Jews, will rule in the end times. It's Revelation 3:7. Game 7 equals 37 in gematria. 37. Revelation 3:7 talks about Philadelphia and the synagogue of Satan. Notice how in gematria that's a lot like 121. 0 doesn't count in numerology when it's in the middle of a number. Revelation, synagogue of Satan. We're going to talk about this phrase more. So it's going to be the Warriors' 106th game. It's going to be the Cavs' 103rd game. And in numerology, again, 0 doesn't count when it's in the middle of a number. 103 is a lot like 13. LeBron's in his 13th season. They call him the King. The word King has gematria 41, which is the 13th prime. So a very significant season for King James. Game 7 will be on a date with 41 numerology. Fitting for King. Golden State also equals 41 as well. I just want to point out, though, that the word good has gematria 41. Think about this. You know, we associate the number 7 with being good and 13 with bad. But good in gematria has the connection to 13. LeBron, 31 years old in his 13th season. Reflections of each other. Anyway, we think about we think about good being number 7. In gematria, bad equals 7. This is game 7 on this date with this 13 connections. I think it's interesting. I'm just observing these numbers to see if they pay any tributes in the scoring. Game 7, how these numbers pop up. I think we'll see them in the stats flashed on the screen. Runs, maybe 13-7, maybe held to 13 points over this amount of time, etc. They like to do these things by the numbers when they put up the stats. If you're a sports fan who often wonders, how in the world did they come up with that stat so fast? I'm telling you, it's because it's scripted it's planned, it's already in the machine ready to go up when it's executed. So what I did here is I added up all the scores. If you take a calculator and add all the scores through the first 6 games, and these are very significant scores. I've done videos on all these games talking about these scores. If you add up the scores of all the games, the Cavs have currently scored 610 points, and so have the Warriors. 610, 610. That's a lot like the number 61. You know, there was that long pause the other game where at halftime the score went 61-61 at halftime. Nobody scored for maybe the final 90 seconds of the half. 61 is special because finals for NBA Finals equals 61. And the NBA Finals Game 7 is also a date with 61 numerology. They've been foreshadowing this date. It's going to be played in Golden State. Think about how that game went to 61-61 overtime. Here it was, Game 5. Cleveland scored 29 in the first, 32 in the second. Golden State did the exact opposite. A sum of 61 points for each team at the half. Notice at the end of the first quarter it was also 61. All of this is scripting. The evidence of how the league is scripted, numerical attributes, it's all pointing to Game 7. Game 7 is going to be in Golden State. Golden State equals 122. This year on January 22nd, that's when Steve Kerr returned for the 44th game of the season. The Cavs fired their coach, David Blatt. Last year, they were the first 2 rookie coaches to meet in the NBA Finals. It's all part of a script, part of a joke. These coaches aren't doing anything. They're just serving their actor-agent purpose. Anyway, that date, January 22nd, where Steve Kerr came back, I made a video, and I said, watch for the Warriors score tonight. They might score 122 points. They did. They scored 122 on January 22nd in Golden State for Steve Kerr's return for game number 44 in the Warriors' 44th season of being in Golden State. You know, Jerry West, number 44, running the team. This is also the date in history, January 22nd, where Kobe scored 81 and the rest of the team scored 41 for a total sum of 122 points in Kobe's 81-point performance. Kobe Bryant equals 41, what the rest of his team scored. What's interesting about Kobe and the Warriors is they both closed out the NBA regular season together on April 13th. Golden State equals 41. Kobe Bryant equals 41. Kobe Bryant's father was drafted 14th overall by the Warriors 41 years earlier. And when you write out 14, it sums to 41, just like Golden State, just like Kobe Bryant. All of this stuff is scripted. If you haven't seen all of the tributes in Kobe's 60-point game, you need to watch that video, because in part it's very sick. It was a tribute to the death of Moses Malone in Philadelphia, where Kobe's born at the beginning of the season. Moses Malone died at age 60, 17 days after Daryl Dawkins. NBA equals 17, kill equals 17. These 2 men, former teammates in Philly, who won the championship 33 years ago this season. They both dropped dead after the Pope visits. Moses Malone at age 60. Kobe scores 60 to close out the season. Moses Malone was the first player drafted from high school to the pros, drafted by Utah. Kobe finished his season against Utah, scoring 60. Whole lot more to it than that. But you can follow that right there. That's enough. So anyway, to get back on point, both teams have scored 610. We talked about 61 finals, the game being on a date with 61 numerology. Special number, a number that gets quoted a lot. The word God also sums to 61. So does church, so does miracle. Last year on this date, June 17th, 2015, I was talking about how this number was coded into the very sick, killing hoax. It was a hoax, but people don't know that, so it messes with their mind, at the Charleston Church. That was last year, June 17th, 2015. Rodney King has died on this date in history. A man beaten on March 3rd, 3-3. All of this stuff is orchestrated by the numbers. It's all part of a show to control society, to program them, to make them think a certain way. But anyway, special number here is 61. At that church shooting, they parked a fire truck with number 106 on the side of it. It was flying a Tea Party flag, a party that's known for being, exclusive to whites. Here we have a black church shooting with a fire truck flying the Tea Party flag on the national news coverage. Tea Party equals 106 in gematria, just like the number on the side of the fire truck. In history, there was a black church bombing that killed little girls on a date with 106 numerology. Just know that this stuff's way bigger than sports. This is where these numbers come from. They're not arbitrary. These people are playing God over the masses' lives. Anyway, LeBron himself has scored 181 points through the 6 games. And if you doubt any of this, add it up yourself. I could do it here for you. Do you want to do it real quick? Maybe you guys don't believe me because this point's important. So let's just do it. We'll do it out loud. Game 1, LeBron scores 23, the number he wears. Game 2, LeBron scores 19, a sum of 42. The 2 games in Golden State, he drops 42 points. LeBron James equals 42. Bill Russell equals 42. LeBron became the first player to go to 6 straight NBA Finals since 66 with Bill Russell. LeBron equals 66. All scripted. So 42 points, then he drops 32, brings it up to 74. Special number to the gang. Masonic equals 74. Jewish equals 74. This is who runs the NBA. Then he scores 25. 74 plus 25 is 99. When you write out the number 13, it sums to 99. The Cavs were down 1-3, trailing 3-1, down 1-3 in Cleveland. When you write out 13, it sums to 99. LeBron in his 13th season. They then became the 33rd team to be in this scenario, down 3-1. Nobody's ever come back. The teams are 0-32. LeBron and the Cavs would be the first, making it 1-32 for teams down 3-1. But remember, basketball equals 31. LeBron's 31 years old. We just saw Villanova win 31 years after their last championship. They won in 85. Basketball, the big way, is 85. Villanova won in 85. Then they win 31 years later. Basketball, the small way, is 31. Curry equals 31 the small way. 85 the big way, just like basketball. Manchurian athletes named to be. So 99 points. Connection to 13. Then in Game 5, LeBron scores 41, bringing it to 140. Then in Game 6, he scores 41 again. 181 points. 181. That's the 42nd prime number. LeBron James equals 42. Cleveland Cavs 42. Bill Russell 42. Earlier this year, I thought the Cavs would win it 4-2 because a lot lined up for a big win in Cleveland. They did get their big win, but it didn't end the series. And we now see why it's going to Game 7 with the Father's Day, the King James. Anyway, 181 points. If LeBron scores 42 in Game 7, he'll be at 223. And I've been talking about this all year with the Cavs. You know, this ad for them. Number 2, number 23, 223. No love, 0, it doesn't count. 223. Remember, Masonic equals 223. The synagogue of Satan, the false Jews who run the NBA. David Stern, Adam Silver, 223. LeBron scores 42 points. They're going to be at 223. The name James in Gematria equals 48, 223, the 48th prime. I did the video on the dead gorilla in Cincinnati, how that is also a story that's meant to work up people, that's part of a coded riddle. It connects with Muhammad Ali, Kimbo Slice, LeBron James. It's part of a very sick joke. The people who run the show, very racist, very hateful towards black people, but love to use them to make the money, to entertain the masses. This is what people need to wake up to who support these leagues, because they're supporting wrongdoing. It's very sick. If I had to bet on other numbers for LeBron to score, I'd bet the most on 42. But I'd also bet on 46. If LeBron scores 46, there'll be 227 points. Remember, 22 divided by 7 gives us the number for pi, having to do with cycles and circles. It's been a very important number all year. 227 is the 49th prime, bringing us back to Revelation. Also in the King James Bible, there's a tribute in Psalm 46 to the number 666. And the NBA Finals in English Gematria sums to 666. So if LeBron scores 46, I could make sense of that, finishing with 227 points. If he scored 48, he'd finish with 229 points, the 50th prime. There's seemingly a connection between the Orlando shooting and the NBA Finals through all that's coded. The shooter's name equaled 229. They reported 50 dead for the first day. Then they dropped it to 49 plus him for a total of 50. 229, the 50th prime. Maybe. But I'd bet on 42. then on 46, then maybe a little on 48. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see LeBron with 42 points by the end of Game 7. And remember, it was 42 last year that allowed me to pick what the NBA Finals would be. LeBron had his season high of 42 on February 26, 2015. From there, I said it's going to be Golden State, Cavs in the finals. They had both retired the number 42 for Nate Thurmond. This is how the league is rigged. Always tributes in the numbers if you know what to look for. And all season I've been talking about 2-2-3. Flip Saunders died just before the season began, 2 days before it started. He died on a date with 50 numerology, something to think about. In October, the only month with 33 gematria. February 23rd was his birthday in Cleveland. 2-2-3 in Cleveland. And game 1 of their season, the team he coached, the Timberwolves versus the Lakers. Remember, the Lakers originally from Minnesota. The score was 223 points. And I said to look for that before the game even began. This is how scripted it is. So all these tributes all year to this number 223, it might end that way with LeBron James, the star of the team, with this number coded on him. The Warriors also advanced over the Oklahoma City Thunder, the only team with a gematria that sums to 223. So the Warriors, they have that number with them a little bit as well. Game 7 this year will be in California in Golden State. Prophecy and California both have gematria of 52 the small way, 106 the big way. This game was played in California, this big tribute to 223 at the beginning. As for Steph Curry, he scored 141 points. You can do the math yourself. I promise you the math's correct. I always triple check my work. He scored 141 points. That 41 stands out, doesn't it? I was trying to think what would make sense for him to do in Game 7, just to make this prediction a little bit thicker. I think a possible scenario is we see a high-scoring game, an exciting game, a back-and-forth game, a crazy game, to hold people's attention. An epic equals 33. If Curry scores 38 points, he'll have 179. Oh, that's a typo. It's not the 42nd prime number. What 179 is the 41st prime number. Golden State, 41, huge number on the season. It would be a fitting number for him to go down with, 38. It's also a number connected to death. Maybe they lose in overtime and sudden death. And the Cavs advance, Curry with 38. So if I had to bet for LeBron and Curry on point totals, I like LeBron's 42 a ton. I could see a Curry 38 as well. If Curry has a bad game, 16 would make a lot of sense. 16 would make a lot of sense, I think, as well. So that's that. What else did I notice? Oh, here's what we didn't talk about. Game 7 of the NBA Finals will also be the 150-year anniversary of Juneteenth, when the slaves were freed at the end of the war. Juneteenth has gematria of 41. Again, it's going to be on a date with 41 numerology. The 13th prime, King James, the big star. Part of the reason I thought the Cavs would win in 6 games long ago when I made the original prediction early in the season is because all that lined up for this date. June 16th was to be the 168th day of the year. Cleveland Cavaliers equals 168. I've since figured out from reading the articles that in the history of presidential elections, when the East wins the NBA Finals, a Democrat is elected, and everything seems lined up for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, the Clinton dynasty goes back to the beginning of the country, New York City. That's where the original Clintons are from, the governor, vice president. Think about how Hillary was senator in New York. Think about how when her husband became president, there was the 93 World Trade Center bombing in New York. New York City also has the same gematria as Cleveland Cavaliers. And, Hillary had that big primary win in New York City. I think all this stuff synced up. And just to show you the numbers are no coincidence, this was ESPN's story after the game when they won yesterday on the 168th day of the year. 2 minutes and 48 seconds. But if you break that into seconds, there's 60 seconds in a minute. 60 plus 60 is 120 for 2 minutes, plus 48 more is 168. 168 second story. ESPN does this all the time as tributes. I think we covered all this information. Sometimes my blog's redundant, how much I write. I just try to be thorough. I noticed this also yesterday. They were making a big deal about Dante Jones when he took the free throw line. They put his stats up there, talked about what an acquisition he's been for the Cavs. They picked him up on April 13th, the last day of the regular season. Notice they show this stat with him averaging 5.4 points. Game 7 is going to be in Oracle Arena. Oracle equals 54. The Warriors' home winning streak was snapped at 54 games this season. The 44% field goal, 44 a huge number on the year. Warriors in their 44th season. Last year, the Cavs were in their 44th season of existence. King James equals 44. He scored 44 in Game 1. Anyway, check all this out with Dante Jones. This is the kind of stuff I've been exposing since the beginning, showing how these players have numbers coded into them, and they are traded around like chess pieces as tributes. When Dante Jones was at the line, he took the score to 57 points. He's about to make this free throw. The score is about to go to 57. If you're new here, 57 equals championship. When you write out 57, it equals 131. When you write out championship, it equals 131. When you write out Super Bowl, it equals 131. When you write out World Series, it equals 57. Recurring numbers. Villanova got their 57th tournament win, winning the championship this year. Cavs finished the regular season with 57 wins. This guy brings the game to 57 points. His birth numerology gives him a life lesson number of 57, being born December 27th, 1980. So he takes the game to 57 points. The name Dante Laval Jones, his birth name, sums to 196. Think about the date June 19th. In most parts of the world, that's written 19/6, a lot like 196. His name reveals this is going to Game 7, something I've been talking about ongoing, all the clues being dropped. Supposedly, he's from Trenton, New Jersey. Trenton in gematria is 106, just like prophecy. His birth numerology also has the number 119 coded into it for all-seeing eye, Star of David, important symbols to the Masons and Zionists. I'm telling you, these people are farming athletes. This man was named and part of something that's always been planned. This is really how deep it is. There's a lot of Dante Jones in the world of pro sports. This is more than the NBA. This is all the pro leagues. This is worldwide. This is going on. This is very real. I've been exposing this in a number of ways for several years. The evidence builds. My case, my evidence, my credibility, it grows every day. And people who come here and dismiss after one video, it's too bad because they're missing out on some really important knowledge. Dante Jones is also 35 years old. King James also has gematria at 35. You might remember his 35th NBA Finals game. He was held scoreless for the first time. Draymond Green, the 35th overall pick, had a big quarter. Before the game, I noticed this right here, this banner, Defend the Land, they had up. Defend the Land in gematria sums to 57. Also 102. I've been talking about all these Civil War tributes in this series. The Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. Slavery equals 102. United States of America equals 102. Important number from Revelation. It connects to the Key of David, which is talked about in regards to the Church of Philadelphia and the Synagogue of Satan. Yesterday's game began, look at this, half of the first quarter and the Warriors only scored 2 points in the NBA Finals. I don't think in my life I've ever seen an NBA team held to 2 points in 6 minutes of play. If it has happened, it's been very rare. I don't recall it. But what I think they were going for was this 2-1-3. 2-1-3 is a tribute to February 13th, the 44th day of the year. We're going to talk more about it. I talked about this in my tribute video for Kobe Bryant. They were calling it Black Mamba Day, which had gematria of 2-1-3, and he scored 60 points 213 days after the death of Moses Malone at age 60, he had this parallels with. High school players, Philly, Utah. 2-1-3 tribute. Tupac Shakur, his final album while he was alive, All Eyes on Me, came out February 13th. He died exactly 213 days later, September 13th. Tupac Shakur equals 139, 13/9 for September 13th. Moses Malone also died on that day this year. Freemasonry equals 139. Then Tupac's mom dies. It's announced on The Real Machiavelli's birthday. Tupac's final album released that he recorded was Machiavelli. All of this stuff is planned, part of a 6 script. I just showed how Nate Dogg, how his birthday came 187 days after February 13th. He died by the numbers 187, the homicide code, part of the rap group 213. Whole lot more. Black History Month equals 213. And all the numbers coded on the black people are unfortunately numbers that have to do with death and killing. And look at what goes on in Africa. You know, the genocides people don't talk about. Also, yesterday, game 1, the final score at the end of the quarter was 11-31. LeBron James, 31 years old, basketball 31, a sum of 42 points, what I expect LeBron to score in game 7. This stat, fewest points in a quarter of the season. Remember, Curry equals 31. They came back from 3-1. Curry actually scored 29 points in game 7, but then the next day they bumped his stats up to saying 31, saying they recorded a bucket wrong for Draymond Green. Makes me wonder. I haven't gone back and looked. But these numbers, super important to these people. At halftime, the score was 43-59, and right away I thought of the Civil War. Again, United States of America equals 102. Slavery equals 102. The Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. The first casualty was on a date with 102 numerology. Lincoln would die on a date being assassinated with 102 numerology. Special number for the Civil War. The Civil War began in Charleston. Charleston equals 43, so does Civil War, so does massacre. The word slave alone equals 59, slavery 102. Look at yesterday's score. Charleston Civil War, slave. Put it together, 102. And again, June 19th is Juneteenth, the date the slaves were freed. And these professional athletes, in a way, they are slaves. They're slaves to lies. They have to go out there and they have to perform in these rigged games, and they're way overpaid for it. But what I'll let you know is I don't think any of these people make the money that we think they make. You know, I've made this point several times before. All these young black men getting paid all these millions of dollars, you think it would go back into their communities where they're from. You think by this day and age, all these young black men getting paid all these millions of dollars, you think these poorer communities would have finally come up by now. But they don't. And when you look at the way these athletes are, they live in these homes with these garages full of cars that they're not allowed to drive. I think it's all mostly just for show. I talked about how Paul Pierce equals a 106 in gematria. At the beginning of the season, he got a $10.6 million contract, a lot like 106. And now we've seen how all NBA finals, they've been putting Paul Pierce on TV to tell everybody what's going to happen. What's Paul Pierce's prediction? Has anyone ever seen the Paul Pierce coverage before? I documented this before the NBA season began. I said, remember this with Paul Pierce? There's a Paul Pierce story going somewhere. And here Paul Pierce is, our man of prophecy, all season predicting that the Cavs are going to win the NBA Finals. Or all playoffs, excuse me. But this is really how scripted and rigged it is. One of my favorite things at the end of the game was LeBron in his 13th season threw a pass to number 13, Tristan Thompson, to make the score 99-86, giving them a 13-point lead. Remember, 13 equals 99. They went to 99 points. You can just see it if you're watching the game and you're aware of what's going on. Nobody even tried to guard Tristan Thompson. It looked like the WWF with some guy jumping off the top rope with his elbow in the air, you know? It's the same thing. It's this scripted. The people who watch the NBA and go, man, I can't believe people watch this wrestling rigged shit. Well, time to wake up. You're watching the wrestling rigged shit. It's always been this way our whole lifetimes. I'm sorry to say I saw it as a 7-year-old, truly. I was in Portland watching the Blazers always go down by the numbers. I didn't know this code back then, but I could see through the scripting. Golden State from Philly loses with 101 points. The big incident at the end of the game was Steph Curry getting ejected after fouling out. Before the game even started, the announcing crew was talking about how Curry hasn't fouled out all season. It's always this way in pro sports if you just pay attention. They'll bring up a conversation, and then that thing will happen in the game. And I don't know how the sports fans just shrug it off like, oh, there's another coincidence. Oh, there's another coincidence. Why are they talking about how Steph Curry hasn't fouled out all season? And then he fouls out for the first time later in the game. And then once he does, he has a little tantrum and throws his mouthpiece and hits a fan and gets ejected. You know, a lot of people don't like Steph Curry because they always have the camera on him up close with him chewing on that all chewed up mouthpiece. People are like, what's up with that? You know, everybody has their ticks. But I really think that this is part of the reason that the score was 101 to 115. The clear reason this was the score is because it sums to 216, and Cleveland is home of the 216 area code. This is the last game of the season in Cleveland. 216 points. Out here in Seattle not long ago, the Seahawks won their first Super Bowl, and their star quarterback, Russell Wilson. Russell, a name with 106 gematria like prophecy. Russell Wilson, he throws for 206 passing yards. The area code out here. The first score of the game at the 12th second, when Seattle's whole theme is the 12th man. All of these games are scripted. They're a theater act. It's a joke. Mouthpiece the small way also sums to 52, like prophecy, like California, where the series is heading back to. At the end of the game, they were also making Draymond Green more of a bad guy. You see how they're creating the villain role for the Warriors. You know, the good guy narrative for the Cavs to win at this point. And then, of course, what everybody's talking about is Ayesha Curry's tweet. I'm telling you, these people are owned and operated. If the media didn't want you to know about Ayesha Curry's tweet, you wouldn't know about it. It's the fact that NBC and ESPN and CBS and ABC pick up the story and start talking about it, making it viral. If they wanted nobody to know about this, they just get rid of the tweet, and it would be business as usual. They're putting this stuff out there to mess with the heads of people. You know, there was a time when the WWF lied and said it was legit, then it was finally exposed that it was fake. Guess what? They still have fans. They have even more fans. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if eventually it comes out that the NBA is fake, just like the Globetrotters, and their fan base even grows, because these people will go along with anything, and they'll support something no matter how wrong it is. It's like they tolerate being lied to and deceived and having their money and time and energy stolen. Think about all the fans that, break furniture, put their fist through walls over these games. They don't realize how they're being duped. They don't realize how they're being manipulated. These games are meant to mess with your head. NBC Sports, when they retweeted her thing saying the NBA is rigged for money, they emphasized rigged for money, and there's some other curious things about the tweet. Rigged for money, as they emphasize, has gematria of 89, just like King James. And as all they've been saying this whole time, it's all centered around King James. The Cavs lost with 89 points in Game 1 in Oakland. It's not rigged for money. You know, the powers that be, they control the money system. They don't need the money to stay in power. They've built this world around us. They use money to control us. And they rig gambling to thieve money from the public, because it's all part of holding the populace down and stealing from them. You know, we as a people need to learn how to work together instead of thinking about ourselves and putting the whole mortgage down because you think you got the game figured out because your team's so hot, and then somehow they lose by 30 points to this team that's not half as good. The reason that happens so many times to gamblers who think logically is because it's rigged and they don't recognize the rigging, the scripting that's meant to manipulate them. So there's some other interesting stuff coded into this tweet. What stood out most of all is how they posted it at 224 likes they had it frozen at. Curry got ejected at 422. I don't want to get caught up too much in that. Just notice this, though. The wife of Steph Curry is Ayesha Curry, a name with 144 gematria. When you write out 44, it sums to 144. Huge number this year for the NBA Finals. It was a big number last year. The Warriors were also in it. Again, Jerry West equals 44. Wore the number 44 44 years ago. Setting records. 33 straight wins. Now the executive for the Warriors. In the college championship, it was on April 4th. When you write out April 4th, it sums to 144. Their star player was playing in his 144th straight game. Tyronn Lue in gematria equals 144. The new Cavs coach, former Laker, former NBA player. Played in Nebraska. Nebraska equals 44. The name Ayesha Curry, it has this 144-44 connection. It also has gematria of 54. And some people are probably going, well, where are you going with this? Here's where I'm going. The same thing I've been saying on this blog. These celebrities, the people they're married to are all part of the ritual. These people get married by the numbers. They get married to wives that have numbers. They have children that have numbers. It's always the same. See my work on Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, Jay-Z, so many more. All of them married by these same numbers, 44, 144. 44. Think about the Freemason compass and square, the big G. That can represent 44. We'll talk about it. The date Curry was married to this woman, July 30th, 2011, a date with 41 numerology, Golden State 41, 41 the 13th prime, special numbers to the gang. And this image that Google provides you when you search for their marriage date, sometimes they drop clues in these pictures. What does this picture communicate to you about Steph Curry? Kind of like a bewildered face. He has a bomb on his head. What's it about? You know, they're communicating crazy things through these sports leagues. It's about more than sports. It's about the next news story. It's about shootings in Orlando. All throughout history, sports syncing up with tragedies. Think about the Patriots emerging in the wake of the Patriot Act and 9/11. Think about the Saints coming back after Katrina, earning their first Super Bowl against Peyton Manning, the son of Archie Manning, who played for the Aints. It's all scripted. So transparent if you just think. Curry's also born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Think about how Charlotte's been in championships, losing over and over. He was at the Super Bowl cheering for the Panthers when they went down. In the college championship, Carolina went down for football and basketball. Earlier this year, he was cheering for Jordan Spieth in the Masters. I showed how Curry golfed the Masters course in Georgia on February 23rd, 223. Spieth began the Masters 44 days later. Spieth choked in the end. I think we'll see Curry choke in the end just like the golfer did. Georgia equals 44. So also in the news yesterday was the collapse of Lil Wayne and Meat Loaf, and both of these guys share the same birthday. If you didn't see my work on the Pope leaving Philadelphia on September 27th and Villanova winning the championship, get this. September 27th is the Jesuit order's birthday. That's the elite order in the Catholic Church. There's a lot of Jesuit high schools, a lot of Jesuit basketball players. You know, LeBron himself went to a Catholic school. Curry. So many of these players have played high school ball at Catholic schools. Villanova was a Catholic school. The Pope left on the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27th. He's the first publicly known Jesuit Pope. From that date until the day Villanova won the championship was 191 days. And the Society of Jesus in Gematria equals 191. That's what the official name is for the Jesuit order. So the Gematria corresponding with that was the exact amount of days from the Pope leaving to Villanova winning the championship. Villanova, this school just outside of Philadelphia. The Warriors, originally from Philadelphia. 106-mile-per-hour train wrecks in both years connected to basketball. So here's Lil Wayne having this September 27th birthday. So did Meat Loaf, and both of these guys collapsed yesterday. And just wait until I show you what Meat Loaf was doing when he collapsed. But let's start with Lil Wayne, who also just released a song for the Cavs. Look at how old Lil Wayne is. He turned 33 the day the Pope left. And the Pope's visit very much connected to basketball. Philadelphia's had all these basketball-related deaths. Daryl Dawkins, Moses Malone, Dolph Shays, the brother of Dion Waiters, and other people I'm forgetting right now. The scorekeeper that had been with the league since 1947 who died 106 days after his birthday. All these Philly deaths. Philly, the city of brotherly love. Dion Waiters' brother dies in Philadelphia. Anyway, Lil Wayne turned 33 years old that day. Catholic Church, CC 33. The date Lil Wayne was born, September 27th, 1982, a date with 137 numerology. That's the 33rd prime. He's 33 years old. A date with 38 numerology, the word death equals 38. Also a date with 118 numerology, death equals 118 in Jewish gematria. Lil Wayne has fateful numbers, 33, 38, 118. These are all numbers of ritual sacrifice. This guy went down yesterday on Game 6. Game 6 equals 33. Cleveland equals 33. NBA Finals equals 33. Look at his birth name, Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., 216, like the Cleveland area code, like the sum of points. The small way, 99. When you write out 13, it sums to 99. All the numbers we're talking about. Lil Wayne, his artist name, in gematria sums to 101. Lil, which they love to use in hip-hop, equals 33. So does the word hip. Lil, hip, 33. Philadelphia, also 101. Warriors from Philly, they've been getting those 101 tributes. As for the NBA Finals, it has this gematria of 666, and with regards to Cleveland's 216 area code, if you multiply 6 times 6 times 6, it sums to 216. Lil Wayne just came out with this song, Off, 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 for Cleveland. I haven't heard it myself, but I recognize what's up with the title. O's the 15th letter, 1 plus 5 reduces to 6, F is the 6th letter, F is the 6th. Off breaks down to 666. And he has it 3 times. The NBA Finals 666. He said he wasn't sipping on the scissor. You know that 3-6 Mafia song? If you add up every number up to 36, 1 through 36, it sums to 666. Pimp C, who's in that song from UGK, died at age 33. His death was blamed on the scissor. You know? Lil Wayne, almost nearly the same incident. From the date this happened until his birthday is 103 days. Remember, the Cavs are going to be in their 103rd NBA Finals. This was a number coded into the shooting. 50 dead, 53 more injured. The shooter's name equaled 103 the small way. It's also a span of 3 months and 11 days. The reflection of 113, important numbers to the Masons. The beast equals 311. Look at the NBA Finals in gematria. Standout numbers, right? Last year when the Cavs scored 42 points against the Warriors, it was 3 months and 22 days before the start of the NBA Finals. Something I documented in my prediction. Lil Wayne just came out with this song on June 8th. 6-8. 68, a fateful number connected to death. That's 111 days before his birthday. And the NBA Finals also has that 111 gematria. If you write out 666, it sums to 156. If you write out 33, it sums to 156. If you write out February 2nd, which is the 33rd day of the year, it sums to 156. If you write as above, so below, it equals 156. The symbol, the Star of David, that the Zionists use, that's a physical representation of 33, 2 three-sided triangles. I'm just telling you about this because Lil Wayne at age 33, when he released this song, Off, 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 it was also 15 weeks and 6 days before his birthday. And this is the way these people operate. They are serious about their numbers. Sizzurp is known as purple drink, codeine, cough syrup and alcohol, and I forget what else, some shit you don't want to drink. Purple drink sums to 144, just like Killer. Pimp C died at age 33, who's in this song. His death was blamed on this. Purple also equals 88, like Poison. We just saw Prince die by the numbers on a date with 41 numerology, on a date connected to the NBA Finals. 49 days after attending the Warriors Thunder game that was all prophecy. So right after the news of Lil Wayne, then Meatloaf collapses, and I wanted to see what Meatloaf's birthday was. Had to check that out. He was born September 27th, 1947, just after the first NBA championship won by the Philadelphia Warriors. He collapsed in Canada. Canada has this gematria of 144, just like Orlando, Florida, where there was just the shooting. Meatloaf has the same gematria as Pulse. Oftentimes all these things are synced up. Meatloaf in Jewish gematria sums to 213, connected to killing. Talked about that, the 213 tribute in yesterday's game. He was singing the song, I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. And look at the gematria, 106 like prophecy and 223. Do I need to elaborate at this point? If only I could figure out how to cram all this information into a 5-minute video. He was born Michael Lee Day. He supposedly collapsed late, either June 16th or early June 17th. Universal Standard Time, it was already June 17th. His name in gematria sums to 59 like kill. News came on a date with 59 numerology. Wikipedia right away had a big write-up on his death, but then they took it down. So we'll see if Meatloaf survives for much longer. It seemed that Wikipedia was ready to go with everything that happened to him. Wikipedia, the whole time of the Orlando shooting, only reported 49 dead. They were days ahead of the news. Wikipedia is run by this gang of Masons. Anybody can update it, but it's always the Masons who keep it the way they want it. Wikipedia all full of these numerological tributes. His birthday in numerology stands out. 102, numbers we talked about. 57, numbers we talked about. 39, the number of books in the Old Testament. 83, that's the 23rd prime. He was in Edmonton, Canada when this happened. Prophecy connection, Edmonton, Canada, 52. There might be a riddle in Fight Club, but I haven't checked it out. I always think of his character in Fight Club. The one death that was reported in the media yesterday was a UK politician, and it was a woman who died at age 41 just before her 42nd birthday, reportedly Jo Cox. And you have to remember, from the US to the UK to all over this world, the Masons are running the show by the numbers. They're having people fake their deaths by the number. They're having people murdered by the numbers. With these politicians, it's typically fake. And I'm leaning towards the fact that Jo Cox is not a real person, a created character to play her 1 year in office that she's been. This is a lot like Gabby Gifford. She'd just come in. Gabby Gifford's totally fake, major psyop. Her husband, a astronaut, a Freemason. The Masons, they put on a big show for us to live within. Sports, news, science. It's mostly all coded bullshit. Anyway, Jo Cox, a lot of things stand out. She was born Helen Joanne Cox, a name with gematria of 64, like Israel, like Zion, like Thelema. Jo Cox, which she goes by, sums to 22, like basketball. Helen, a name with 44 gematria, like kill. Joanne, a name with 59 gematria, like kill. Cox, a name with 42 gematria, like lady, like female, like Freemason. She died just before her 42nd birthday. Jo Cox in simple English gematria sums to 67, like blood sacrifice, also like female and Jewish gematria. International Women's Day is the 67th day of the year. A fitting name made by the numbers. She was supposedly born June 22nd, 1974. That date can be written 22/6. Remember, last year I predicted the NBA Finals off the February 26th game, a game that can be written 2/26, same number sequence. Numbers that often get coded in rituals. 93 World Trade Center bombing was on February 26th. If you watch the movie Taxi Driver, it's building number 226 in New York where this mass slaughter happens at. See the work I've done on Hillary Clinton and how 226 is coded into her presidential campaign. The date she died, a date with 58 numerology like Freemasonry. 31 also connecting to basketball. 22 connecting to basketball and Jo Cox. 38 connecting to death. CNN gave a minute 56 video. There's that number again connecting back to 33. These people are very redundant, coding out with their same numbers all the time. Police blamed a 52-year-old man. I didn't follow up if his name came out, but, 52, number of prophecy. We see what they're giving us. How can they not have his name, but they got his age? And why do they need to tell people his age? These people are obsessed with numbers. By looking at the way they're reporting is how I finally figured out what they were doing in the world. I've only been making these videos for 3 years, but really, this work is the progress of me trying to understand what's truly going on in this world since I was 17 years old. I'm almost 33. So, nearly 16 years of trying to understand things. This woman was killed outside a Burstall library, gematria of 79, like murder. 79 is also the 22nd prime number. Talked about the 22 connections. She was 41 years old, this major 41 theme going on, the 13th prime. They say how she's a mom, a word with 41 gematria. Earlier this year, there was a story about a woman shooting herself on International Women's Day with a gun. All this 41 coding in it. They made it a big deal how she was a mom. I take it back. She didn't shoot herself. Her child shot her. Another riddled story by the numbers having to do with guns, gun control. That's what it's all about. These politicians, they sell us out. And here's another way they can sell us out: by participating in a contrived story by the numbers with a political narrative. In the UK, they lost their guns by the numbers with the Dunblane Massacre. In my book I'm working on, I show exactly how the Dunblane Massacre and Sandy Hook are all coded with the same numbers. Ever since Sandy Hook, there's been a major boost in shooting hoaxes. It's all part of this ongoing agenda. Repeating history. And for the record, anytime Richard Quest is on CNN, you know that story is a hoax. Richard Quest alone tells me this is bullshit. Meanwhile, while everybody's watching the rigged basketball game, Sheila Jackson Lee is proposing legislation to change gun control, Stop Mass Killings by Violent Terrorists Act. Well, if you want to do that, let's just shut down the media where they report all these false killings to scare everybody. Problem solved. Sheila Jackson Lee in Gematria equals 59, the woman who proposed this. She's been in Congress a long time. Number stamped all over black people. Negro equals 59. Slave equals 59. Blues equals 59. Right now, the Attorney General of Obama is named Loretta Lynch. Think about how sick of a joke that name is. Loretta Lynch, born in 59, of course. A lynch used to kill. Again, it's the Freemasons who do this to us. Little extra lesson here, bonus lesson. They say Nimrod, the biblical character, is the first Freemason in the history of the world, connected to the story of the Tower of Babel. Nimrod in Gematria sums to 213. 213. This number connected to February 13th, the 44th day of the year. That day is known as Lupercalia. Lupercalia equals 44, 44th day of the year. Freemasons have grand lodges. Grand equals 44. Big G equals 44. I should have wrote it up here. In Jewish Gematria, grand equals 132. And the Cavs have a chance to upset the Warriors in their 44th season, becoming 1-32 for teams behind 3-1 in the NBA Finals. And I think we're going to see it. Grand also equals 132. Last year, the Philadelphia Trainwreck was on the 132nd day of the year. LeBron ended up starring in a movie Trainwreck by the numbers. His name in Gematria connects to Trainwreck. But this is what it's all about, and this is why 44 and 33 and all these numbers are so important to these people. Big G also represents 33 in Francis Bacon Gematria. That's where lowercase a through z's 1 through 26, uppercase a through z's 27 through 52. Big G is 33. Big G can signify 33 and 44, two of the most important numbers to this gang. Nimrod was the king of Shinar, Gematria of 33 and 42, Genesis 33. Starts with G. Think about how this dates February 13th, this tribute possibly to Nimrod with our very bogus Gregorian calendar. Gregorian equals 58, calendar equals 58, Freemasonry equals 58, named after a pope in the Catholic Church. Catholic Church equals 132, like grand, the CC. Anyway, February, the tribute to 213. The only month with Gematria of 42 and 96, just like Freemason. Just want to establish who's really running the show again and again. If you haven't seen my Game 5 NBA Finals preview, check it out. If you haven't seen my Super Bowl prediction months before that happened, check it out. See how I called Broncos over Panthers, Von Miller MVP, Black Panther tribute. Right now we're getting the O.J. Simpson again, and at the time of another NBA championship on February 2nd, the 33rd day of the year, they released the O.J. TV show with Cuba Gooding Jr. Simpson equals 33, Race War equals 33, the crime scene was a date with 33 numerology, the trial's all 33, O.J. serving a 33-year sentence right now. Think about a sports actor, a movie actor, a news actor, O.J. Simpson. So are a lot of these other people in this world, duping the masses. These people use the same numbers and everything. All part of their ongoing agenda of man-made prophecy. All right, until the next time, true